Hey, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Okay, how old are you?
Cheese. Say cheese.
This is my sister Jenny. Say hello, Jenny. Say hello.
I don't know if it's like a good thing or a bad thing that I've kind of always known what I wanted to do. I'm 20 years old right now and I'm going into my final year of university. And I feel like most people at this time are like very stressed out trying to figure out what they're meant to do after they graduate, being very lost, which I also relate to. But also, even though like I don't really know how I'm going to get there, I know where I want to go in a sense. And I feel like I've always known, even though at times I've tried to diverge and dabble into other things that I felt like were more secure. I was being cowardly. Even at the back of my mind, I always knew that those things would never make me happy. And I know what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. In a way, that's good because it's like you don't have to worry about, figuring out your life path. Also, it kind of feels worse in a way because then if you don't achieve that, it's almost like more of a failure because it has been like your life's mission and then you don't achieve it. It's like, well, what now? I think since I was a child, I've always wanted to be an artist of some kind, whether that be physical art like painting and stuff, or I remember I wanted to be an author for so long because I was obsessed with Jacqueline Wilson, and I wanted to write books about girls going through troubles too.
What's the matter?
Just hay fever.
Oh.
Obviously, this whole time I've still been painting and drawing and making all kinds of art and writing, but as time went on, I realized, do I love or do I want to be poor for the rest of my life? Which, when you're coming from being poor and you also have no connections, those kind of feel like the two options, like either get a job that makes money or get a job that you like and stay poor forever, which is not necessarily true, but that is a fear that is in the back of my mind a lot of the time. Um, when I was in sixth form, I did fine art A level, but then when I applied for the school, I told them that I wanted to be an architect. I never wanted to be an architect. So they made me do maths and further maths and physics with art, and I wanted to kill myself. And I quickly realized I did not want to do architecture. I wanted an art job that also felt respectable and might earn me some money. Then I found out architects don't even make that much money, and they all seem to hate being architects. So why would I put myself through that when I didn't even want to do it, really want to do it in the first place? So then I kind of switched and I considered doing English because I really liked English. It's always been one of my favourite subjects. I'm good at writing. And yeah, it was pretty easy to me. So I thought if I want a degree, I might as well do something that is I don't find that difficult. And then I was considering doing fine art as a degree. And I quickly realised that I didn't really like my art being graded. And I didn't really like having to make things, for rather than just being for my own fun or from my own creative ideas. It was for a teacher who had their own creative vision that I had to adapt to in order to get the grades that I needed. And I felt like if I already felt that way at A level, doing it at university would be even worse. So then I pivoted to history of art, which is what I'm doing now, which kind of felt like a combination of art and English. Sometimes I do regret not just doing fine art because even if, like being critiqued by teachers all the time would irritate me, at least I'd still be making stuff. Whereas now, I don't make any art, I just write about it, which can be fun at times and it's interesting to learn about, but no artist really wants to be writing about art that they could be making. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And I've also realised that maybe I should have just done a film degree because if that's like my end goal is becoming a filmmaker or director, then maybe I should have done that so I could get some connections. Well, I could since I'm starting from no connections. But I kind of figured that out too late when I was already halfway through my history of art degree. So kind of just gonna have to do that from scratch. I have been considering possibly doing a film masters, but before I could apply for a film masters, since I don't have a film undergrad, I would need to obviously build a portfolio. So that is why I'm here dealing with this. I'm basically just documenting my solo creative journey back into making art now that I've spent 2 years kind of just writing every day, all day, and I'm sick of it and I don't want to have a career in artistic writing. I don't want to be an academic. I don't want to be a curator. Not really. I don't really want to work in a gallery. I would for money, but that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So these channel is going to be me forcing myself to make things and then posting that. Now I know what I want to do. Even if it's late, I know that I want to be an artist. I want to make art. Maybe, I want to, at least once in my life, have a solo exhibition that's just all my own art. I want to sell my art. I want to be able to live off it. And then I want to be a writer. I want to write movies, and I want to direct them. And that's all I really want to do, and that's all I've ever really wanted to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't really know what to put in this first video, since I'm still in the process of making so many things. I feel like I stop and start so many projects at once because I get bored easily, so I can't just do one thing to the end. So I need to have multiple things going on at once for me to stay productive. So I thought I'd show some of my past projects and artworks. And I think the last time I was really making art very consistently was when I was doing it for my A-levels, so that was almost 3 years ago now. So I thought I'd go through some of my favourite A-level art pieces. One of my favourite things I made during my A-levels was when we had this project called ephemeral art, which basically just means art that doesn't last forever. Some of the things my other classmates did were working with food and fruit and just things that would kind of rot over time, and maybe stitching them together, making art with them so that the art wouldn't last forever because it would eventually rot away, which I thought was cool. But when I was coming up with my idea, I was very focused on the idea of maybe light and shadows. There's this one artist who I can't remember the name of right now, but they made sculptures that when you shined light on them, the shadows would create the shapes and the artworks. And I thought that was really cool, and I really wanted to make something like that where the artwork existing depended on there being some kind of light source. I eventually came up with the idea of making drawings out of masking tape. So basically what I would do is I would find a reference, and then based on how much... Okay, how do I explain this? So, how do I even explain how I did this? So basically I would make portraits, but where I wanted the darkest hues to be was where I'd layer the most tape, so that when you put the final thing in front of a light source, it would show the picture. That's not really a good explanation, but yeah, basically I was just making drawings out of masking tape, and it was really cool. And I had no idea I could do it. I think I just saw someone do it on Pinterest or TikTok or something, and I was like, that's so cool, such a good idea, let me try it. And I just did it. First time, it's actually much easier than you think. It's more time consuming than difficult, but if you can draw, if you can paint, and if you know where light and shadow goes when drawing a face, then you can easily make it. You just, where you want shadows, you layer the most tape. Where you want highlights, you layer the least tape, and boom, you put it in front of light, and then it shows what you made. But yeah, so that's something I would definitely try again. I think I had an idea where I could do that, but on a lampshade, so that when you turn the lamp on, it would show the products. I think that'd be a really cool thing to make eventually. Yeah, another one of my favourite artworks I made during my A-levels was this one painting. I did a lot of self-portraits because obviously if you need a reference, it's very easy to just take a picture of yourself and then paint yourself. So that's what I did a lot of the time. But this one was based on a photo series by Jenny Saville. And the way I made my reference was basically I just pressed my face against the scanner on my printer and smushed my face and then edited a bunch of the photos together, and then I painted it. But yeah, the theme of that part of my project was femininity and the grotesque, so I think that communicates very well in this painting. But yeah, it was really fun to paint it. This was the second time I'd ever used oil paints as well. And I really do like oil paints. I'm trying to get more into them because I've done much more with acrylic than I have with oil. But I feel like when I paint with oil, the end product is always much more photorealistic. So it depends on the vibe I'm going for, because obviously because oil is a slow drying substance, it's easier to blend with than acrylic. Whereas when I paint with acrylic, I feel like there's a lot more of a blocky type texture, which is also nice. So it just depends on the vibe I'm going for. But yeah, that was a really good painting, and it was one of my biggest paintings that I made. It was quite big. I think it was like A1 or A2 size. But yeah, I really wish I could make bigger things like that again, but just because I'm always moving between home and uni, it doesn't really make sense for me to buy really big canvases I'm going to have to constantly transport around all the time. Another one of my favourite things I made during my A-levels was, this was during the final part of the course where the exam board gave us themes that we had to pick from. So I chose the theme of portraits, which was kind of boring, but I felt like if I picked a boring theme, I could kind of spin it in whatever way I wanted to make it more exciting. So I chose portraits, but I kind of made up my own theme of memories. So I worked with a bunch of childhood photos and videos of me.
Hey, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Okay, how old are you?
3.
And I made a bunch of portraits from them, and I made an animation. So for the portraits, I took old curtains from the old house we used to live in. We moved when I was 7 years old, but we used to live in a different house, and we had these red curtains in all the rooms, and we had some of them in storage. So I took them and I basically pinned them to my canvas, and then I painted on top of them. I painted childhood pictures of me and my siblings, and then in the background I took childhood drawings from when I was in nursery that I found stashed away somewhere, and I made those the background of the painting. So really cute, yeah. And then for the animation, I took a bunch of videos of me when I was a baby and a toddler.
I gotta sing barbecue.
Okay.
Barbecue.
All right. Sorry, yeah, I have to come and hold her because she's...
And I essentially drew each frame by frame, and each one of them counted as a portrait towards the project, and then I put them together as a stop motion animation.
Hey, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Okay, how old are you?
Say cheese. Say cheese.
This is my sister Jenny. Say hello, Jenny. Say hello.
And that literally took me so long. This is why I don't really do like animation anymore, because it just takes so long. Like, I really don't have the patience for it. Even though the product is always so cool, it's just like, this is too much time. Who has time for this? But I had time for that, and it got me my A star. So that was definitely my favorite thing that I made. And then I put some sounds of me talking and my family talking when I was a baby. It was really cute. Everyone in my class was really cute. Yeah, so it was definitely like a nostalgia vibe, but it really did take me so long. Even up to the day of the 15-hour exam, I was still making that animation, and I stayed up so late making it on the day of the exam that I almost literally passed out on the exam because I'd had like 2 hours of sleep. No, I had no hours of sleep. I didn't sleep that day. It was really bad. You should never do that. If you have a 15-hour exam, do not go on 0 hours of sleep. Something I've made most recently was me and my friend from uni. We went on holiday to Spain. We went to Las Palmas in the Canary Islands, and we went to this aquarium there. So I took a bunch of videos and then I made a little animation from it. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, these are just going to be videos of me documenting all the stuff that I make. Hopefully we'll have some films in here eventually. I'm planning on writing a few plays while I'm still at uni, while I still can, and still have access to like a theatre department and everything. More paintings, more drawings, more everything, just so I get back in the flow of making. You know, like everyone else at this age, I do spend a lot of my time panicking about the future, you know, trying to control everything and organise everything and make a perfect path to follow so that I know what to do and everything doesn't feel so out of my own control. You know, I'm autistic. I love a good list. I have a list for everything, and since I can remember, I've always tried to make life lists, which essentially are like step-by-step instructions of how I'm going to get A to B and where I want to go in my life. And they literally have to change every year because obviously circumstances change constantly. So it's a very silly and stupid thing to do, but I just keep making them, even though I can never follow them because so much of life is not in our control. But yeah, I still do it anyway, which makes no sense. But despite that, I feel like I also have a very delusional and wishful way of thinking where I just, in the back of my mind, I always know everything's going to work out for me. Like, I don't know how I know, but I just do. And I feel like I'm going to get everything that I want because I want it. You know? So far, I have done well in school. You know, I'm at Cambridge University right now. I got three A stars in my A levels. You know, the job market is terrible, but I feel like I'll be alright. just because I'm me, you know? Even if maybe the creative stuff doesn't get me as far as I want it to take me, I'm still gonna be okay. I'm never gonna be, destined to stream. Hopefully, never say never. But, I'm smart, and I think that will keep me alive.
Marge, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I feel sun. I feel free. How are you feeling, Jenny? Well, today we're in the Canary Islands. We're in Las Palmas. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I'm getting a tan.
Jenny just spotted a lovely house that she can like.
Yes.
Isn't that so cute and quaint? So cute.